That was weird.
Yeah, my apologies. Guys, what's good? What's happening? Big news today and yesterday. The NFL draft happened. Picks, and more picks. And, but unlike Adelia, maybe not a lot of picks, right, Adelia?
Not a lot of picks.
Not a lot of picks. But without further ado, this is the Pulse GFBR edition, and we'll see you guys soon. All right, guys, what's good? What's happening, everybody? It's your boy, Ferris Sultana, and welcome to the Pulse GFBR edition. We're doing our sports starting this week.
You sound underwater again.
Really? I don't know. Probably a loose cord, maybe. I don't know. But it is what it is. My name is Ferris Sultana, but I'm not alone. I'm never alone. I got my running mate with me, Adelia. Adelia, how are you?
I am not that great today. I had my combine results come back, and I required sacroiliac joint injections in my pelvic bone. So those were today, and I'm very loopy still and very tired. So we're persevering today for the sake of the draft.
Absolutely. I woke up today at 5 a.m. I had a shift, and then I took a little nap afterwards. So, charging on. So it's cool. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Any shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to people. We appreciate it. Before we get to a little bit more information, I want you guys to hit that like, hit that subscribe. We're at 410 subscribers, Adelia. We're 40 away from 450. We do little goals here on Let's Get Ready, the Let's Get Ready networks, post credits, and GFBR. We're going to 450, then 500, then 600, and then 550, and 600. Just little goals here and there. So make sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, and share the link with everybody nearby. The lead story is the NFL draft. Let's get right into it, Adelia. Every year, it's the NFL draft. It's one of the biggest events in America, basically, because football
has become one of the biggest sporting events in America, and it's not even a sporting event; it's just a draft.
Exactly. For years, it was held in New York City. It's evolved over the years. Back in the day, it was just a bunch of GMs and a bunch of owners sitting in a ballroom, just writing names down on a board. And then it evolved to a television spectacle. And then it was held at Radio City Music Hall for many of years. And then one year, the NFL realized, why don't we take this show on the road? Yeah. This year, they were in Pittsburgh. They've been in Green Bay. They've been in Chicago. They've been in Dallas. They've been in Vegas. You name it, they've been in it. Next year, they're going to be in Washington, D.C. But Adelia, the draft, your Broncos didn't pick in the first round, so you really had nothing to do. They didn't pick in the second round either.
No.
So you were waiting till the third round. They finally picked somebody in the third round. Do you like the draft as a spectacle, as a presentation? And, how mad have you been or happy during the draft, the NFL draft for the Broncos?
I mean, let's be clear. The Broncos didn't pick in the first or second round because we got Jalen Waddle, which I'm totally fine with.
Yes.
I'm fine with us not picking in the first and second round if we get Jalen Waddle in exchange for that. So he's basically our first round pick this year. Mm-hmm. I'm so out of it, I don't even know who we picked at the beginning of the third round. If Ferris, you could look that up for me, I would appreciate it.
I got you right now.
But the draft as a whole is a spectacle. I don't really like drafts all that much. I think that they are pretty much okay. Who did we pick?
Defensive tackle Tyler Onyedim from Texas A&M.
Oh, that's right. Yes. That's good. He's probably a replacement for John Franklin Myers, who left in free agency. Mm-hmm. The thing about the draft for me is that it's labor. It goes against labor laws and your right to work wherever you want to work. Mm-hmm. And it ties these kids coming out of college to having to work in a specific city and for a specific team for the length of a rookie contract, and then only until that team decides to either release them or trade them.
Mm-hmm. Because it's not really
contract. I just think it's not
against the law. It's against the law.
It's against the law. But drafts is a spectacle. The NFL draft is nothing compares it. I mean, Roger Goodell, I think, said there was 320,000 people or something like that coming to the draft this year.
Yep.
Which is just crazy. I think that it's great for the kids that get drafted because, like, this is them fulfilling their lifelong dream. I feel really bad for the cornerback from Tennessee that has fallen
Yes, because of his injury.
because
Yeah.
of his injury. But I'm just not a big fan of drafts. I'm even less of a fan of draft lotteries. So thank God the NFL doesn't have one of those. But I'm just not a big fan of drafts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've always had an issue with them, and I've always had an issue with the contracts because they say first rounders get a 4-year contract with a 5th-year option, so a team can activate the 5th-year option, so you can be there for 5 years. But then the problem is when you do the 5-year contracts, they can still keep you for 3 more years without your permission.
Yeah.
And that's always been my issue is I did my contract. The option, you drafted me, you got the option to keep me for 1 more year. That's, if we got to negotiate to keep that, fine. My always issue is like, it could be more than 5 years. It could be 7 years, and without a long-term deal. That's always been my issue. You give me a contract, I fulfill it. I'm free to go negotiate another contract with anyone else. But the NFL doesn't operate that way, and I've always hated it. And honestly, I don't know why the NFLPA doesn't send them to court and be like, this is against the law. It should be removed from the collective bargaining agreement personally. But unfortunately, the NFLPA is a joke.
Well, I don't think it's just a problem with like the NFLPA. I think like this is a problem with any of the leagues in this country that have a draft to bring players into the league. Like shout out to the NWSL, whose players called bullshit on this in their last CBA and said, get rid of the entry draft, get rid of expansion drafts, and just let us sign wherever we want to sign for the team that's going to offer us the best contract and in a place that we want to play and in the best situation for us. Like, I feel really bad for some of these kids that get drafted, sure, really high in the NFL draft. And we just saw the NBA draft as well. Get drafted really high and are going to go to these teams that aren't very good. And especially in the NBA, don't want to win because they want to get that other, high draft pick next year and stuff like that. And it's just not a very good situation for them. Yeah. Now, you could argue that not having a draft will try to make the rich get richer by signing all the good players, but salary caps come into play and they can't do that. I hate salary caps too, for the record. I think salary caps are stupid. Sorry, you're going to see me moving around a lot today because of the thing. But I think salary caps are stupid too because, like, who are you to tell an owner how much they can pay their players? Like, you couldn't tell an owner of a McDonald's how much to pay their players except for a minimum amount. So why can you employees? You couldn't tell an owner of a McDonald's how much to pay their employees except for what the minimum amount is. So why are there max contracts? Why are there all these things? Like, I hate the Dodgers with a passion. But what they're doing in LA is spending money that the owner wants to spend. They're paying whatever luxury tax, even if that exists, that exists in baseball. And they're winning because of it. And yeah, not every owner is going to do that in every sport. But I think that owners should be given the opportunity to do that if they want to. I think that your team in particular, Ferris, had a pretty good draft so far.
Yes.
You want to talk about them?
Yeah, very good draft. We got the best. So apparently on our board, the best non-quarterback prospect was Arvell Reese. He falls to us at 5. We get him. We get our top offensive lineman that we wanted in Francis Mauigoa. And then in the second round, we went with cornerback Colton Hood, which is a big need for us. We've needed a cornerback Adelia for the last 10 years.
Yeah,
like since Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, Janoris Jenkins, we haven't had a good one in many years. And I think that was about 8 to 10 years ago. It's been a long time.
It's been a while.
And then we just traded up today. We traded for a big body wide receiver in Malachi Fields. I was watching Coach's stream a little bit earlier. He said he thinks Malachi Fields was underutilized at Notre Dame. They ran the ball a lot, so their receivers weren't used like that. So hopefully we can, find, and lock him. Our wide receivers coach, funny enough, the only thing I know about him is that he's Matthew Stafford's brother-in-law.
Okay.
That's the only thing I know about him. I don't even know if that's a good thing or not. So
I
we'll
mean,
find
I
out.
don't think that has anything to do with the ability to coach.
Exactly. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I know about him. I don't even know if he's a good coach. So
Yeah.
we'll find out. We'll find
We'll
out.
find out.
So yeah, I'm happy with the first three picks. I'm actually happy with the first three picks. I really am, because you hit needs on all three. You went best player available at 5, because nobody on this team should prevent you from upgrading. There's
Yeah.
nobody on this team that prevents you from upgrading. So they went best player available at 5. Bobby Skinner of the Giants Nation show pointed out that there's a higher rate of success from tackle to guard conversions from pure guards. So pure guards have busted at a higher rate than taking a tackle and making him a guard in the NFL. So we drafted Francis. Hopefully it works. Hopefully he's a 10-year starter, 12-year starter, all pro. I'm a big fan of him. I was a big fan of the Miami offensive line. Him, Anise Cooper, and James Brockmeyer, and Markel Bell got drafted in this round by Philly. So I was a big fan of their offensive line. So, and we got the best one. He was the best. So I'm happy. And then Colton Hood, Denard Wilson wants press man corners, Adelia, who can create turnovers. Colton Hood, press man corner, he can get turnovers. And Denard Wilson, he was the secondary coach and passing game coordinator in Philly when they were pretty damn good. And then he went to Baltimore. They were one of the best units in the NFL coverage-wise. And then, the only reason he left is that he got a promotion to be defensive coordinator at Tennessee. So I'm happy. I'm happy with these picks. Good on them. We don't have a third or a fourth round pick now, because we traded up for Malachi Fields. So I won't be stressing tomorrow. So yeah, I'm just happy and good on them. Shout out to John Harbaugh and Joe Shane. They've done good. They've done good in my eyes. Yeah.
You had mentioned during our draft watch along yesterday that Mauigoa has a back injury.
Yeah. So last week, I didn't know about this because when 2 weeks before the draft or a week before the draft, I kind of focusing on what the reporters are mocking us to. So I only focused on Sonny Styles or Carnell Tate or Caleb Downs. Everyone was like, around there, that's what the players you're supposed to be looking at. So I kind of forgot about Francis Mauigoa. Last week, he was flagged with a herniated disc. That's a big issue. And back injuries linger. You have one. You've told me about it.
Yep.
I think my pain is being subsided because the athletic trainer we hired is the University of Miami's athletic trainer who knows Francis's body just as much as Francis. So I'm a little happy about that because now I'm like, okay, good. They probably know how to operate this. But I'm still a little scared because herniated disc, is it going to be surgery, physical therapy? How long is he out? So I'm a little scared about that. And back injuries on offensive linemen, those have always scared me for ever. When Mark Schlereth talked about how he had one back surgery and it lingered for his entire career from Washington to Denver. Then when he was in Denver, he had 2 more back surgeries, and it's just now his back's all messed up. Mark Schlereth told us about that. So I got kind of scared.
It really depends on the back injury.
Yes.
Herniated disc, I don't think is as bad as a bulging disc, or something that requires spinal fusion. Spinal fusion, there's no way I think he could play in the NFL anymore. Spinal fusion, next option for me if this SI joint stuff doesn't work, possibly. No one will do it to me because I'm too young for it, which is crazy. I think he'll be okay. I mean, some good physical therapy over the remaining of the off season and everything, and I think he should be fine. But of course, I don't know how severe his herniated disc is or anything. But I think that they wouldn't have drafted him if they thought it was a real concern.
Also, too, you're also an offensive lineman throwing around 300-pound men.
Yeah.
So that's a little different. But I think that's pretty good. Let's move on to the main post, Adelia. First up is just an unmitigated cluster dumpster fire of a World Cup proceedings, Adelia.
Yeah.
The transit situation for the World Cup.
How about you let me tell you about this story first? Because
Adelia.
I've read much more of this than you have.
Hit me.
So this all started a couple of weeks ago when they announced that there would be no parking on site or tailgating at MetLife Stadium during the World Cup games. So immediately, one way to get to the stadium taken away from you. Then they said they would be announcing how much the train cost would be for the trip from Penn Station in New York to MetLife Stadium. And it's a 9-mile ride. It takes 15 minutes. It normally costs $12.90. Ferris, would you like to guess? I know you know, but would you like to just guess for me how much that's going to be during the World Cup?
Before I found out the real number,
I
thought it'd probably be, $30, 30, $40.
Yeah.
And then when I found out the real number, I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, because the real number is $150. It's $150 round trip for a 9-mile train ride that takes 15 minutes.
That's $12.90 round trip usually.
$12.90 usually. It's nearly 12 times the usual amount. They anticipate that around 40,000 fans will be using mass transit in New Jersey and New York area to get to MetLife Stadium for these games. Others will be using rideshare. They have a dedicated adjacent parking lot for ride shares. This is a stadium that's going to be hosting 8, I believe it is, World Cup games, including
the World Cup
final, which we'll talk about in a minute, because that's insane. So Mickey Sherrill, who is the governor of New Jersey, has decided that FIFA should be paying for the transport, which is, I'm sorry, laughable. FIFA's not going to pay for fans' transport to the games. That's just not part of the deal. It's never been part of the deal. You wanted it to be part of the deal. You should have said it a long time ago.
Well, Adelia, she wasn't the governor that negotiated this deal. That's
still.
Yeah. I think is Brian Murphy, something Murphy?
Something Murphy. I don't know who was governor of New Jersey before Mickey Sherrill.
Yeah.
But she says FIFA should be paying for transport. FIFA said in response, that's laughable. And that they are saying the New Jersey Transit president and CEO Chris Kaluri told reporters, this isn't price gouging. They're just literally trying to recoup their own costs. It's going to cost them that much more than it usually does to run these trains. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Wait. So, like, are they going to be running the trains more often or more, right? Because, like, if they're keeping the trains like,
I don't think they can run the trains more than they already run.
Okay, exactly. So if it's the same schedule, why is it still not $12.90?
Well, here's what it is. They said they plan to spend $62 million on transporting fans to and from the stadium during the duration of the tournament. Many of that funds coming through outside grants. Well, outside grants have only raised about $14 million of that. So they decided instead to pass the cost of everything onto the consumers that are going to be riding these trains to and from Penn Station in New York.
Man, it's just nonsense, man.
It's nonsense. Mickey Sherrill, when she called on FIFA to cover the transportation costs, said, if it won't, we will not be subsidizing World Cup ticket holders on the backs of New Jerseyans who rely on NJ Transit every day. FIFA has bristled at the suggestion that it should shoulder New Jersey's transit costs. It pointed to other U.S. cities that are keeping their transit rates unchanged. And we're going to talk about some of those in just a moment. Boston will be using express buses from various locations around to Foxborough, which is where the World Cup games will be held. It will cost $95. So
it's better than $150.
Yeah.
Still pretty high. Still pretty high, but still.
Yeah. There's $80 round trip train tickets from Boston to the commuter rail station near the stadium. But that's 4 times the $20 that the riders are normally charged for a round trip ticket during game days and other special events at Foxborough. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, one-way fares will remain $1.75. In Atlanta, they're locked in at $2.50. In Houston, a single ride will still cost $1.25. And in Philadelphia, the base fare for the subway will remain at $2.90. Kansas City has come up with an event like transit plan called Connect KC 26.
I think this is probably the best one.
This is a good one. This is a good one. Kansas City, I don't think has a lot of trains or anything. They have buses. So they have their bus service.
They have that that little
light rail.
Light rail. Yeah,
they
you can take to the funny enough, there's a stop for the women's team at KPC Stadium for the KC Current. Yes. But I think outside of that, they don't really.
Yeah.
They don't go to Arrow. They don't go to Arrow.
Yeah, they don't go to, I don't think a light rail in Kansas City goes to Arrowhead yet.
Yeah.
But anyways, you can take a motor coach bus service from the Fan Festival or from one of 4 park and ride sites to Arrowhead Stadium. Round trip tickets to the stadium are $15 on match days, which is not bad.
Not bad.
They also came up with a regional transportation pass where you can get transportation from 15 sites throughout the city to the Fan Festival site. Those are available for $5 a day, $25 a week, or if you're going to be there for the whole tournament, $50.
Yo, that's great.
That's great. Yeah.
That's great.
And the shuttles to the airport, always free. So that's pretty good.
Look at that, man. Look at that.
Dallas has announced a public transit ticket situation where ticket holders can board trains in Dallas for $6 round trip, or Fort Worth for $4 round return fare, to Centerport Station, which is the closest train station to AT&T Stadium. Mm-hmm. Then you get to take charter buses that are complimentary to a bus hub in Arlington. And then you have to make a half-mile walk to AT&T Stadium. It's the best they could do. But the walk only takes 10 minutes.
It's not that bad.
It's not that bad. And you're not paying a lot.
Yeah, and I've seen soccer fans walk more than 10 minutes.
Oh, soccer fans don't care. They'll be marching to the stadium. That's what soccer fans do.
Yeah.
So they will also have over 16,000 parking spots available at AT&T Stadium if you want to just drive there. So there's that.
So yeah, you can.
This is all on top.
Yeah.
Of ticket prices being astronomical as it is. The ticket prices are just insane. Currently on FIFA's resale site, there is 4 tickets that have been put on resale. So these people bought the tickets at face value for these seats, put them on resale. Ferris, the price of each one of these tickets, just under $2.3 million.
Each?
Each. It's for the World Cup final. They're located behind a goal in a lower deck. Block 124, row 45, seats 33 through 36.
Nah, bro.
Behind a goal, $2.3 million.
Nah, bro.
FIFA, of course, does not control the prices on the resale marketplace, but does take a 15% purchase fee from the buyer of each ticket and a 15% resale fee from the seller. Boy, I wonder how much they'd make on those tickets. Another seat nearby was listed at $207,000, while a Category 2 seat, which I believe they would have paid about $10,000 for face value, was $138,000 in the uppermost third deck. So you want to sit in the nosebleeds, $138,000. But a few feet away, one has an asking price of $23,000. The lowest price tickets for the final as of this past Thursday were $10,923.85 for 4 seats, 4 rows from the top of the upper deck behind a goal. Not good seats at all. FIFA has not responded to comments on the ticket pricing. They did put new blocks of tickets on sale on Wednesday for $10,990 each. They were available for the semifinal in Dallas or Arlington for going for $11,130 each. And in the semifinal in Atlanta, it's $9,660 or $4,360, depending on where you're sitting. The price of the U.S.'s opener against Paraguay in Inglewood, California at SoFi, highest price ticket there right now, if you buy at face value, is $4,105.
Not sold out. We're still not sold out.
Not sold out. Not sold out.
A lot of these games, Adelia, a lot of these big name teams, even the U.S., we're the home team, even in Mexico, even in Canada, they're not sold out. Canada hasn't sold out. Mexico hasn't sold out, and they're the first game. We haven't sold out.
There were no tickets listed directly by FIFA for the tournament opener. So if you want tickets for that, you have to get them on resale now. So Mexico, South Africa at the Azteca in Mexico City seems to be sold out. Canada's opener against Bosnia and Herzegovina on June 12th in Toronto. Highest priced ticket available there, $3,360. Lowest priced ticket, $980.
Bro, I'm just getting more irritated when you keep talking, Adelia. I'm not gonna lie to you.
If your team makes it to the third place game, because we have those in the World Cup, the third place game, you lose the semifinals, you go play the third place game. Tickets for the third place game, $1,125 in Miami on July 18th. They are price gouging the hell out of people at a time when people don't have a lot of money to spend. And a lot of these fans that want to come over here either can't come over here because of the government saying, no, we're not letting in fans from your country, or because they've saved up money for 4 years to be able to follow their team at the World Cup. And now that it's time for the World Cup and they're finding they can't afford it.
I was watching a documentary about Argentina's World Cup, right? And then when they made the World Cup final,
are we talking about
in Qatar in 2022?
Qatar, okay.
An Argentinian man said he sold his car for a World Cup final ticket.
Yeah.
I bet you he couldn't sell his car to match the price of this World Cup ticket.
Well, and a thing about it is that most countries where these World Cups have been held in the past, excluding US 94, because obviously this would have the same problem as this one, is the countries are not as large as the United States, Canada, or Mexico is when you combine it all together. And they have better public transport, they have better trains, they have, ways to get from city to city that are much easier than here. Here you got to buy airfare, or you got to plan in like days on a bus sometimes if you're trying to get from California to New York or whatever it happens to be. Like, it's going to be really expensive, and it's pricing a lot of these fans out from coming to these games. Not only fans that are coming here to support their teams, but live here and want to support the US. Also, you have to pay to go to the fan festivals. You have never had to pay to go to a fan festival before, but now you have to pay to go to the fan festivals.
Adelia, you know why they're doing this, right? Because they can't do this in any other country.
No.
They can't do this because we're the only country that sees $1,000 tickets and paying a lot of money.
Them anyway.
Yeah, because we think it's a good thing. It's like, oh yeah, of course we'll do this. Why do you think like European teams do their summer tours here? They charge more for those than they do to watch their teams in England, because they know if they charge an English person $150, $200 to watch their team, they'll laugh in their face.
Yeah.
That's why when they come over here, how much is, like, I remember we went to watch Arsenal Barcelona in the summer. I think the tickets were like $300, like $200, like $200, $150 maybe. I don't know. I didn't pay for the tickets. My brother and the homies did. So I don't know, but I'm pretty sure they weren't cheap. We were in SoFi Stadium, Barcelona, Arsenal. This was a preseason game. We were in the summer. It was a summer series game. Yeah. I bet you we paid more for that game individually than any English Arsenal fan has ever paid to watch Arsenal play at home.
At home, I'd say probably.
Or on the road.
No, I wouldn't say on the road, because like if you go to like a European game and it's, in Kazakhstan or something, that's obviously going to cost a lot of money to get to. But this is outrageous. Like, I was thinking back when Denver was a candidate to be a host city that it would be really cool to like go down there, visit my sister, get some tickets to some of the games, go watch games. I've never been to MetLife Stadium. It would have been awesome. Denver wasn't chosen as a host city, so that went away from me. And then I saw the ticket prices and I was like, I wouldn't have been able to do that anyways. It's outrageous.
It's nonsense, Adelia. It's pure unmitigated nonsense. They're robbing these people, man. And in this economy with the inflation and the tariffs that we're not getting our refunds back, but the corporations are, they're stealing our money. And then people will yell at people, be like, oh, why don't you have enough money, bro? I don't know. Probably because I'm being robbed by my own country.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want from me? And here's the thing too: where are my taxes going?
Yeah.
We're just being robbed left and right.
Yeah. Like
Being
there's
robbed
been
left and right.
this World Cup is going to be such a shit show. This is not even factoring in the political climate in this country with the war in Iran, and Iran's supposed to come over here and play. They're not going to allow Iranian journalists or like trainers or like anybody into the country. I heard them say this week, just the athletes. Like, are they not supposed to be able to be here with their coaches? Like, they're afraid they're going to bring in like people that'll do terrorist attacks or something. I don't know. It's so stupid. Then we've got ICE, like ready to round up fans that are here for the games. Like, this is going to be such a shit show.
It's nonsense, Adelia. It's nonsense.
It's nonsense.
We're being robbed left and right. But you know, speaking of being robbed,
Let's move on.
moving on. Moving on.
into the
Something else we're being robbed is the possibility of seeing Victor Wembanyama play more playoff games. Big story coming out of the NBA. He got a concussion in Game 2 in the Portland series with San Antonio. Portland wins that game, so it's 1-1 in the series. But Wembanyama got a concussion, which is a big problem, and it's really scary because concussions, they linger. And
this was a nasty looking concussion too.
And his head bounced, and it was really sad. And
it was scary.
It was scary, and
he got knocked out. Like, there's no doubt he got knocked out.
Yeah, he for sure. He fell asleep. His eyes closed. He was asleep.
Yeah,
he's one of the big stars of the NBA. He's the future, the alien for a reason, and it's kind of sad to see. But he's traveling. He traveled, but he's still in the protocol.
Yeah, he got ruled out for Game 3 tonight, which is about to start. So I don't know if we see him back in this first round series. I don't know if the Spurs make it out of the first round series without him. And if they do we see him in a second round series against, I think it'd be either Denver or Minnesota?
Yeah, possibly. But here's the thing too. Do they beat Portland without him?
Because
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't think
so.
so.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. That one's a toss-up, Adelia, because you have a lot of great pieces in San Antonio. They're very good individual pieces, and they're good players. But he's the key to everything. He's the star. I think this team can win an NBA championship. But he has to be the guy, right? It's this theory, Adelia. It's this theory in the NBA playoffs. It's called the 2-1-1 theory, where 2 games are won by your star player, Victor Wembanyama. One of the games is won by your secondary player. Let's say Milwaukee with Chris Middleton. He won Milwaukee a game. And then the last game is a random role player. It's called the role player game, where a role player just explodes and wins the game. That happened.
I saw that when the Nuggets were in the finals against the Heat a few years ago.
Yep.
It was Joker. It was Jamal.
Yep. Our secondary guy.
Yeah, and then Bruce Brown stepped up, and Christian Brown stepped up big in that last game to steal it for the Nuggets. And
exactly.
You need all those guys to do it, but you cannot do it. You absolutely cannot do it if you don't have your star.
Yes. Other injuries in the playoffs. Aaron Gordon missed Game 3 with a calf injury. Unfortunately for the Denver Broncos, they lost that game. Nuggets. They lost that game, correctly? It's 2-1.
We lost that game, yeah.
Yeah, it's 2-1 Minnesota.
2-1 Minnesota. Not liking it. Not liking it.
More injuries. Joel Embiid is still doubtful after the appendectomy. What happened to him in Philly? I can't believe they missed his appendicitis. That's crazy.
He's lucky he's alive.
Yeah, he's literally like, as a man who had appendicitis and needed an emergency appendectomy. Yeah, that's scary. Kevin Durant is questionable to return with a new ankle injury. Austin Reeves was upgraded for the Lakers. He's questionable now, so that series is looking like it's swinging.
He played tonight. The game's going on right now.
I think the Lakers are winning, and I think they're going to go 3-0.
No. It's 101 with 13.1 seconds left in the fourth.
Okay, Leah, last time I checked, it was...
Yeah, Austin Reeves did not play tonight.
Yeah, it was 50-40 Lakers at one point, so I thought they kept it. Thunder's Jalen Williams, he's week to week with a grade 1 hamstring strain, so I don't think nothing's gonna happen with the Thunder if they miss him because they're deep, Adelia. They are deep. It's insane. It's
They're
insane.
deep and annoying.
Yes, they are. I absolutely agree with you. But I think the big story of the playoffs, Adelia, isn't the injuries, is what Devin Booker said after the Phoenix Suns game against Oklahoma City. He calls out the refs. He calls out the nonsense that they were doing. He calls out James Williams specifically by name and says, if we want to keep the integrity of the game, we need to get better refs and they need to do better. And James Williams, he says it, James Williams is a detriment to the game. He says he should not be reffing, basically.
Yeah.
And
this was some of Booker's quotes. He said about James Williams, he was terrible tonight through and through. Then he said, it's bad for the sport, bad for the integrity of the sport. People are going to start viewing this as a WWE if they're not held responsible. It just feels disrespectful. I know I haven't won a championship in this league, but I've been in it for 11 years now. So to get to this point, to be treated like that, for me to even be saying something out loud, it's bad. The NBA fined him $35,000 for criticizing the officials, but did rescind the technical foul against him in the third quarter that they said had been improperly assessed.
so you take my money, but you agree with me.
Well, the technical foul was called by J.B. DeRosa, not
Okay.
James Williams.
Okay.
But yeah.
Exactly, but it's nonsense. I agree with Book. I agree with Book. He's right because he's into Adelia, the gambling. People already think the sports are rigged. People already think we're not watching an actual, athletic.
I mean, how many times do you hear about the NFL script for the year?
Yeah, and here's into Adelia. People don't talk about this anymore, but the NBA had a reffing problem. They had a ref who was rigging games because of gambling debts.
Yep.
So now you've introduced actual gambling into the games, and a lot of those refs that he called out by name, a lot of them kept their jobs and were refs for 10 years, 12 years post him. And David Stern kind of just like swept it underneath the rug. They're like, oh, Tim Donaghy, he's just a disgruntled ref who just talking nonsense. But he didn't get a deal, Adelia. He named names and still went to jail.
Yeah.
He still went to jail. So like it's you.
The NBA, and I think all sports, but particularly the NBA, this has been a problem, has a gambling issue. Not so much necessarily just on the betting on games, but that's been a big problem. We saw that with Michael Porter Jr.'s brother, Jonte.
Yeah.
We saw the situation at the start of the year with Chauncey Billups and Terry Rozier and all of the other people associated with all of that went beyond just betting on sports. They have a problem, and Devin Booker's right. If the refs aren't going to call the game the way the game should be called, which is by the rules, then yeah, people are going to start looking at it and being like, oh, this is rigged.
Yeah. But if you want more ethical basketball and straight up, hatred for one another, we're moving on to the WNBA. The WNBA, they released their national broadcast schedule for its 30th regular season. Hey, man, we're in year 30, man.
30
That's
years
wonderful.
of the WNBA. I remember when it debuted.
Yeah,
That was
30
cool.
They did their 25th anniversary. I still remember it was really amazing. 30 years, new broadcasting deal. The deals are this, Adelia. 216 nationally televised games across the regular season. 216. That's pretty.
216 is a lot, but you're going to need a lot of channels and streaming
Yes,
services.
you
to
did.
keep up with all of it.
Here's the
'Cause
problem.
in order to keep up with the season, you'll need ABC, ESPN, NBC Peacock and NBCSN, Prime Video, CBS or Paramount Plus, ION, USA Network, and NBA TV. And if you think you're going to get all those games live on League Pass, well, you're not. Only select live games will be on League Pass this year, but you'll be able to watch all of them on demand after a period of time.
ABC got 13 broadcasts, including All-Star Game and one semifinal playoff series. ESPN got 17 games. NBC got 7 regular season games, all on Sunday. Peacock and NBCSN, which is hilarious because they literally killed NBCSN a couple of years ago and they brought it back. So shout out to NBCSN. 15 games. USA gets 48 games. And NBC USA gets the NBA Finals, also streamed on Peacock. And Prime Video gets 30 games, including the championship game of the Commissioner's Cup. They've had that. CBS Paramount Plus get 20 games. Ion gets 50 games. They're all on Friday night. So Friday night basketball on Ion. NBA TV gets 15 games. So the biggest package is Ion.
Ion has the biggest package. All on Friday nights, though. So lots of doubleheaders on Ion, I think we're going to be having.
Yes, absolutely.
The Fever, the Indiana Fever, with Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell and all those wonderful players on that team, Aaliyah Boston, all the wonderful players on that team. Every game is going to be on national TV for them. Every Fever game you'll be able to watch on one of the channels that we just listed off. The Dallas Wings get 36 national televised games. The Liberty get 35. The Power of Page and maybe the Power of AZ Fudd as well.
Probably the Power of Fudd.
Yeah. The Liberty get 35 games on TV and Vegas gets 33. Ferris, I see we have a comment in the chat.
Yeah, we do. Shout out to Money Mike 178. He asked 718. Shout out to you, Money Mike. He says, "How you feeling about the Giants draft?" I'm happy. The first 3 picks, I'm very happy. I don't really know much about Malachi Fields. I'm not gonna sit here and say I do. I don't know. He one of my peoples, shout out to Coach Evans, Sip to Tally Films. He's a big Ravens guy. He said on his broadcast that he was doing a draft stream. He said he was underutilized at Notre Dame. They ran the ball more, so their receivers didn't really pop because they were blocking a lot and they didn't pass the ball a lot. So I'm gonna keep my judgment from him incomplete because I don't really know. I'm a big fan of Colton Hood. I've been looking for a cornerback 2 or cornerback 1 Adelia for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
You know, we've been starving for that. Francis Mauigoa, I love him as a player. I love the pick. Issue is he has a herniated disc, so we're waiting and seeing how the medical staff and the athletic trainer, who used to be the athletic trainer in Miami, operates with him in that injury. Arvell Reese, they went best player available at 5. Arvell Reese was their best player available, non-quarterback. He's, for people who wanted Sonny Styles.
I would argue best player available, quarterback or non-quarterback.
Yeah, well, yes, absolutely. So Arvell Reese, if people who love Sonny Styles should love Arvell Reese, he was the better prospect. The only reason people were saying he should move to edge is that they think, because of the Michael Parsons transition, they probably moving edge. But he's the better inside linebacker than Sonny Styles. So I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the draft. Shout out to the New York Giants. They did good work. Yeah, I agree. Money Mike. I didn't watch his tape. I didn't think about him because I didn't think he would be there at 5.
Every mock draft I did, he went to the Jets at 2.
Yes, yeah. So him dropping to 5 was amazing, and they saw him drop to 5, and they ran to the podium and they ran to the podium. So I'm happy. If you wanted Sonny, you got the better prospect. So be doubly happy.
I do think you guys had a very good draft.
Yes.
I can't comment on my team's draft yet because it's consisted of 1 player.
Yes.
So
it's 1 player. Yes.
And Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle is our first round pick.
Yeah, Jalen Waddle counts. Yeah.
Ferris, let's hit some rapid beats.
Oh, actually, dude, I was gonna do a quick little crossover.
Quick little crossover.
A crossover. We were doing sports and media together, guys, because we also do the post credits on our sister channel. The post credits, if you like movie reviews, TV reviews, be on the lookout for those. My crossover for this episode is I watched the Portland Trailblazers Jailblazers documentary on Netflix called Untold. They did the Jailblazers one.
Oh, they did Untold on that?
Yes, they did. And Adelia, I'm gonna be real with you. Mm-hmm. This player media, new media thing, it's not as good as people think it is. Because that documentary was not good. Yeah. It was not good at all. They glossed over a lot of things. They didn't talk about a lot of things. They didn't give you a good documentary. They gave you what Rashid and Damian Stoudemire went through, which is a perspective you need in a good documentary, but they didn't give you everything. No one ever, because sometimes when Rashid would talk, I'd be like, I don't think you're right here, dog. But, so it wasn't a good documentary. I get you need actual storytellers and journalists to tell the truth. You need non-biased journalists who tell you have the hacks in the sports game. You do. I know that for a fact. But you need someone who. But unfortunately, either we have the hacks, Adelia, and then we have the player-controlled media, and we're not getting anything good.
Yes.
Gone are the days of the journalist that wants to tell the story right, where they're not the story. That's what a journalist has always been. You're not the story. The story's the story.
Well, I think part of that, Ferris, is that these players just don't want to talk to journalists because they have no control over the story then.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry the documentary wasn't that good. I have a little something for the crossover, too.
Yes, hit me.
The U.S. Department of Justice is investigating the NFL for potential antitrust violations regarding its media rights deals. Did you hear about this?
No, I didn't, but chicken's coming home to roost. Because here's the thing, Adelia. Here's the thing. People aren't really talking about it a lot.
No.
Donald Trump hates the NFL because they prevented him from buying the Buffalo Bills. So, and we all know how petty he is. So he's going to come down on them. He's going to find something to screw them over, because that's what he does to people he doesn't like. He does not like the owners because they don't like him, and he's going to find something to screw them over. That's all I got to say.
All right, so this probe from the DOJ focuses on whether the league's distribution strategy, which includes spreading games across broadcast, cable, and exclusive streaming services like Amazon, Netflix, and Peacock, forces consumers to pay excessive subscription fees, which is kind of ties into the World Cup stuff we talked about before, and into the WNBA story that we just talked about, how you have to have all these services now to watch all the games.
Yes.
They're examining if the NFL's bundling of games and exclusive streaming deals restrict competition and harm consumers. It's driven by complaints that watching games has become too expensive, with some estimates suggesting viewers pay up to $1,500 annually to access all games. The inquiry, which is pushed by Senator Mike Lee, questions if the NFL's modern model exceeds the limited antitrust exemption allowed for broadcasting in the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961, particularly regarding cable and streaming partnerships. The NFL's defense is that the league argues its distribution is fan-friendly, noting that 87% of games remain on free over-the-air local television. They claim that allowing teams to sell rights individually would be more chaotic and expensive for fans. I will say, yeah, they're on over-the-air local television, but that don't mean you're going to get the game you want to watch.
Sometimes it's blacked out for people in Nebraska.
I live midway between Denver and Omaha. I live nowhere near Kansas City. There are weeks when we will get the Denver Broncos games, and there are weeks when we will get the Kansas City Chiefs games. I don't want to see the Kansas City Chiefs games. I want to see my Broncos. But half the season, I can't watch them because of the stupid model of how the games are structured in the whatever, because for some reason it seems to think that I can drive from here to get to Denver easily, which is a 4-hour drive just to Denver, and then even further to get to downtown Denver, attend a 4-hour football game, and then drive home. And then Kansas City's even farther, so it's just so dumb. There's also, beyond the DOJ investigation, the FCC is reviewing the impact of streaming shifts on sports consumers. The probe includes meetings with broadcasters concerned about the shift towards paywalled sports viewing, and the investigation could affect how the NFL structures its next rights renewals, with current contracts worth $110 billion not expiring until 2032.
Yep. The chickens are coming home to roost, Adelia. The chickens are coming home to roost. Yep. But without further ado, let's clear the board. We're in a Rapid Beats segment. Let's wrap this up. Adelia, first story in the Rapid Beats. MSG owner uses surveillance to spy on people. A new investigative report drops. James Dolan using facial recognition to track people as they go to Knicks games. Would that scare you?
Yes. Yep. He's using facial recognition and biometric monitoring systems at Madison Square Garden, as well as Radio City Music Hall and the Sphere in Las Vegas, which he uses to track specific people. He's reportedly kept internal watch lists on individuals. Like, I am never attending any of these locations. This is not just at Knicks games. This is also at Rangers games. This is also at any event at Madison Square Garden or any of these other locations. Fuck all that.
Hopefully I'm not on the list. But you know who's someone who won't be watching their team play? It is Ottawa Senators fan Kyle Ivan. He was banished to Taiwan for the rest of the playoff series against the Hurricanes after the viral song. He says fans said it jinxed their postseason. The Senators posted
He made a hype song for the Senators.
Yes, he did.
And it went viral on Twitter and other platforms for all the wrong reasons. And fans have said that it jinxed their postseason. The Senators then posted a video of him in Taiwan saying that he was banished there for the rest of their series against the Hurricanes. He's actually there to play an Asian Poker Tour event, but, it's a better story.
Yes.
The Sens didn't get any help from this, though, because they lost again to the Hurricanes last night. They're down 3-0 in this playoff series to the Canes.
More World Cup news. Barcelona wonderkind Lamine Yamal tore his hamstring, so he's out for the remainder of the season. But Luis de la Fuente, the head coach of the national team, says he expects him to be able to play for Spain in the World Cup. They haven't told us
I don't know about that.
Yeah, they haven't told us the grade of the hamstring tear, and I think for a reason, because I think it's bad.
I think it's bad, too. And I think that him trying to play in the World Cup is just going to screw up him for a long time. He's 18 now, right?
Yes, he is. He's 18.
He's at that age where you heal faster from injuries and stuff. But I would not. There's going to be plenty of World Cups.
He's 18.
Spain. He's
the next
18.
World Cup, he'll be 22.
They're not Italy. Spain
Yes.
is not Italy.
Yes.
Mark my words. Spain is not Italy. They will qualify for the World Cup
In
4 years from now. And
No,
4 years
automatically.
after that. Automatically next year, but 4 years after that and 4 years after that, because they have a very good system and structure for bringing through players in that country.
Absolutely.
Don't ruin your health for the next club season that you want to win all this stuff with Barcelona, trying to win the World Cup in the shit show that it will be here in June and July.
Adelia.
Ferris, speaking of a shit show.
Yes.
WrestleMania's security situation was a complete and utter disaster.
Yes, it was.
There were a ton of security incidents in Vegas during WrestleMania week. The hotel security wasn't enough to deal with the fans and autograph hounds. I noticed that Fightful Select was very, very careful in not saying what the hotel was, but Brian Alvarez of Wrestling Observer Radio just went out there and said it was one of the casinos. So they were surrounded by people everywhere they went. Things are apparently getting worse because of skyrocketing prices with WWE, since WWE was taken over by TKO and WWE World was taken over by Fanatics, which means it's run like a Fanatics Fest now instead of like a WWE convention. Among the things going on, someone was very much not respecting the space of AJ Lee and Bailey. So AJ Lee's husband, CM Punk, slapped the phone out of his hand. Quite frankly, that fan, who now wants an apology and a handshake, which he is not going to get. He is insane and he is an idiot. Booker T said he was filmed in a bathroom by a fan. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Come on, man.
Several other wrestlers told Fightful Select that he was not the only one.
That's weird.
What are these people doing? Yeah.
They're weirdos.
The hotel situation was apparently so bad that some wrestlers left and found hotels of their own to stay in that the fans didn't know they were at. Just awful situations. Several of the female wrestlers had scary situations. Damian Priest had to step in and stop some fans and protect some female wrestlers from in one incident. Like, lots of stuff was going on. It's a disaster. Then ticket prices to the WrestleMania, like we talked about with the World Cup, astronomical. They did a bunch of really stupid stuff that involved 25% off for the worst day of WrestleMania and no money off tickets for the better day of WrestleMania. And then today, after a week of hearing about how it was their largest gate at a WrestleMania and they made all this money and all of this stuff, and the TKO executives were paid all these millions of dollars, they released 22 wrestlers today, Ferris. Some of these names are surprising.
Yes. Kairi Sane, Motor City Machine Guns, Santo Escobar,
Aleister Black and his wife, Zelina Vega.
Yeah, the Santos and the Zoe Stark one are pretty heartless because they were coming off of injury.
Yeah. Santos is still injured.
Okay.
Zoe Stark was reportedly cleared for a return, but basically a lot of people are saying they probably just cleared her so they could fire her without it being illegal.
Yes.
The entire faction of the Wyatt Six.
Well,
Well,
Santos.
Santos is yeah. It's they don't care, Ferris. That's
They
my whole
don't.
point. They
Yes.
don't care. The entire faction of the Wyatt Six: Uncle Howdy, Nikki Cross, Dexter Loomis, Eric Rowan, Joe Gacy, gone. Alba Fire, gone. Andre Chase from
Chase U.
NXT, Chase U, gone. A bunch of did I say Alba Fire already? Alba Fire's gone. A bunch of developmental talent from like Evolve and LFG, including Tyra May Steele, who I have heard of, and Malik Blade, who I have heard of, and a bunch of others that I haven't. And Luca Crucifino, who was once in NXT as the like consigliere for Tony D'Angelo's Dawn character. He was also let go today.
It's
And that's just the names as of us starting the show.
There's going to be more.
more.
There's going to be more. But one thing we won't be watching is pro wrestling. But
No.
Adelia,
I will be, but not WWE.
Not WWE. Adelia, what are you watching tonight to wrap up?
Let's see, what is the hockey game on right now? Probably Edmonton and Anaheim. That's been a surprisingly good series. I think Anaheim has a 2-1 lead in this game tonight. I think it's 1-1 in the series. So rooting for the Ducks in that one. And this weekend, I'll probably be watching my Avalanche probably sweep the Kings. And if Shug was here, he'd be very mad at me for saying that. But the Avs are up 3-0. So
That's good. That's good. Me, I'm watching every Friday night. It's Sheriff Country, Fire Country, Boston Blue Day.
You've got to come up with something else to be an answer to this question, because I'm not going to let you answer that every week.
Because that's what I watch every Friday.
I know,
okay.
but you got to have something.
Wait. I'm probably gonna watch the Knicks game. I think the Knicks game is tomorrow. Yeah, I think so. Let me double check. With a horrible. Yes, tomorrow at 3:00. So I'll be watching the Knicks game. Hopefully we tie it up in Atlanta after we lost. What a heartbreaking way to lose those last two games. So yeah, I'm watching the Knicks games. Hopefully we tie it up. The closing pulse, Adelia, your final thoughts.
My final thoughts are I'm seeing that the Pittsburgh Steelers drafted a quarterback. I don't know how Shug is going to feel about this. They drafted Penn State quarterback Drew Allar in the 3rd round. No, my final thoughts are, look, don't tie your entire personality online to a team, to a person, to a corporation. It's never going to end up well when things like the World Cup prices go skyrocketing, but you're like a big FIFA fan. It's never going to end up well when you hear that the NFL has put together media rights deals that might be trying to screw you out of as much of your money as you possibly can. And it's never going to end up well when you're a big WWE fan. And it's not a good look trying to say, oh, but NBA and NHL and NFL teams, they have to cut people too. Like, 22 people lost their jobs in WWE today, and that's just the ones that we know about, and that sucks. And I'm so glad that there is an AEW that I can watch and not have to feel super icky about wanting to watch professional wrestling. Ferris, what about you?
Fight the establishment, always and forever.
Yes.
That's my final thought.
All right.
Guys, make sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe. We really appreciate it. And once again,
You don't remember what you said last week, do you?
I don't remember what I said last week. What did I say? Do you remember? I don't remember. It was something really profound.
It was something about the pulse of society.
We may have, you know what?
Just say something else. Just say something else.
We appreciate you guys. We love you. Make sure to come back as we get down to the pulse of sports.
We'll be back
fandom.
in 2 weeks on this channel. We'll be back on the post-credits next week.
Yes. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. One love and peace out.